Goodbody Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Morning, guys. Just two from me. On sustainable exchange performance, could you give us some insight into that? The exchange was up 1%. Can you tell us how much sustainable performed during the period? And as well as that, just on price rush, how many, you have it in a lot of football markets at the moment. Could you give us a rough percentage of product where it's available and how the pace of rollout will evolve over the coming months of price rush?
Sustainable exchange is up right around 4% or so. I think that's really the question, right? So.
Yeah.
And price rush, Gavin, we launched something just before at the end of December. A few markets on soccer, certain leagues, UK only. We've broadened out the number of sports. We are doing some trials on racing where we think it will be interesting, particularly on the kind of the mid to the back end of the field. But for a bunch of reasons, including just trying to understand how we can best offer this value, it's kind of in rollout phase. I don't have a number off the top of my head, but this is still very early stages.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. And your next question comes from Nick Batram, Peel Hunt. Please go ahead.
Oh, good morning, chaps. Just a couple of questions. Just be interested in your initial thoughts on how New Jersey is going on the casino side. Clearly, poker, you've mentioned already, you're not really sort of attacking that market. So just your early experience in casino. And also, we've seen a number of other gaming companies come out now and talk about what they think the sort of net impact on point of consumption tax will be. Could you give us your current thoughts?
Yeah, so New Jersey, I think we're live in New Jersey just over 100 days. I think that was last week. I'm happy enough with how it started. We, from day one, felt that the opportunity for us was in the more casino end than in poker, and we've pitched our marketing accordingly. Obviously, the poker guys come out hard early to try and build up liquidity. Some of them have very strong local brands and benefit from local databases. I'm very happy that a brand that was unknown there 4 or 5 months ago has achieved the traction it has. About the POC, we've seen the stuff. I think there's a very, very broad range in terms of what people think they can mitigate. I've seen numbers between 10%, or I've heard numbers between 10% and I think a third. We're looking at it, but as you know, it's dynamic and it depends on what others do as well. So we're just not ready to. We will mitigate as much as we can, sensibly do, but it's too early to give a forecast as to how big that will be.
Yeah, I think on the POC, the answer is we're currently in our budget process for next year. We will complete it in the next couple of months, take our board through it, and when we are discussing with you the results, the annual results, we will try to give an indication of what we feel the next year would look like, which will of course include whatever the mitigation will come up with.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, chaps.
Thank you. And your next question is from Vaughan Lewis, Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, morning. The other markets have seen revenue of 21 to 22 million per quarter for 3 consecutive quarters now. So is that a sort of steady base, and do you think we might even start to see some growth from that level?
I don't think so, Vaughan. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so. When you other competitors that are very well known to have a greater risk appetite than we have, and I'm talking about some sizable, in some cases private companies, are for some reason withdrawing from some markets as well. So I think the regulatory tone is changing globally, and while we're delighted to be welcomed in new jurisdictions, be it New Jersey, be it Bulgaria, be it Italy, hopefully imminently. And the other side of the coin is that we fully expect other markets to close down. So I would not discount, that we have to exit a market next year or 2 markets next year where either IP blocking is introduced or they ask us formally to stop passively accepting play from that market. So I think we said when we did this originally back in December 11, it would be lumpy, but we still think that part of the business will decline.
Sorry, were there any specific markets, the 2 markets that you're worried about, or are you just talking in general terms?
I'm talking in general terms.
Okay, and then on the integrated sportsbook and exchange, the price rush, how does that work exactly in terms of the margin that you're taking out? Are you passing the bet straight through to the exchange, so then you just get your commission of 3 or 4% rather than an 8 or 10% sports margin, or is there some sort of takeout on the way through?
Well, we have to go through this with people, and I think we'd have to go through the maths in a bit more detail at the full year. But at that stage, we have a broader data set and more sports and stuff. I think you should think of it as two transactions. So there's a sports bet. These are singles, so very rarely would there be an 8% margin bet. These are singles that are taken as sportsbook bets. Then an offsetting bet is placed in the exchange. And if we can offer more value, so broadly, if the bet is the same price, as can be the case, we'll still place it in the exchange. But if we can offer more value back to the customer, we try to do so. And that is returned to the customer after a commission. So there's no charging a commission on winnings if that bet has been filled through the exchange and ultimately wins. So obviously we're foregoing a bit of margin here, but what we hope to demonstrate, and it says yet to be proven, that customers will either enjoy this, stay longer, transact more, that we get compensated in that way.
Okay, and then a final one on the similar theme. Have you noticed any impact from Ladbrokes exchange and the extra effort that they're making on liquidity there?
Not an enormous amount, but no. It could be that I just haven't noticed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And your next question comes from Simon French, Panmure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, morning guys. Just a couple of quick ones from me. Can you just sort of give us an indication of where net cash was at the period end, and whether you can confirm that if you haven't made any acquisitions by the year end, whether you'll look to return that to shareholders?
I think we've said before that we expect net cash at the end of the period to be at around 200, at the year end to be at about £200 million, and we stick by that. I think I've said that in the 6 months, and I think we've also said that we are going to have an update in the summer for the shareholders, specifically dealing with the balance sheet, which we still stand by. We will have, and that's really all we can say at this point.
Okay, and then just a specific one. If we strip out the sort of Blue Square acquisition last year, what would have the sports revenue look like on an underlying basis, if it's possible to split that out, please?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's going to be hugely insightful. We'll take a look at it offline for you, but that acquisition was about a bunch of things: some customers, some data. It's not how we're managing the business.
Okay, fine. And then just a final one. Can you just give us a bit of commentary around how live dealer casino is going as well, please?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy we're getting more product out the door in a more focused way, and definitely with more focus on sustainable markets. I think the gaming guys in particular have been quite disciplined. So live casino is going well. They've just launched a new mobile casino app. They've got more stuff in the pipeline. And gaming has had the last number of quarters were tough for gaming. Obviously, the comp gets easier, but the guys are doing a good job.
Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Your next question comes from David Jennings. Davey, please go ahead.
Morning, guys. Just one question for me. What proportion of your marketing spend in 2014 will be TV-based, and how does that compare with spend the previous year, please?
So the only thing that I can say, James, is that our proportion of on TV spend will increase, as will our share of voice. But we're still in the middle of the budget process. We see how we can most effectively spend our marketing money, our marketing spend. So I wouldn't be able to tell you the percentage yet, but there's no question that the television will increase with the Gold partnership with ITV. Clearly that will increase. Channel 4.
Thanks.
Thank you. And your next question is from Joe Thomas, HSBC. Please go ahead.
Morning. A couple of questions, please. Firstly, on the sports betting side of things, you're saying that the volume of bets on sports was up 27% year on year. Clearly, the revenue. I just wondered what impact you've seen on the of adverse sporting results on your revenue numbers in sports, and whether you can sort of strip that out and what revenue would have done. And then secondly, I just wanted to know what the extent of cost savings is in the quarter year on year, and also what the impact of startup losses is in New Jersey in the quarter as well.
In terms of, in terms of the margin, there's a couple of things that we should say on the sportsbook. First of all, again, I want to underscore the fact that because of our exchange, our business is less risky when it comes to some of these margin, or when it comes to the margin and the peaks and valleys of this. Secondly, of course, we've seen some small impact in January. The margin, we have made it all up in February, effectively. So the trading is better. So I think from that perspective. And thirdly, of course, when you're looking at the sports book, the main reason why the volumes are increasing at greater clip than our revenue is because as we're getting more and more into the recreational customer, clearly the value of the customer is less than the value of some of our exchange customers.
No, sorry, let me cut across that. No, I think the point, we've got a mix shift issue as well, in that you have to think of what the Betfair business looked like a year ago in terms of singles and multiples. So there was a shift there. To Alex's point, margin was poor in January, much better in February. To the point about the volatility of the exchange, as we start to put business back into the exchange, that will take out some of the volatility of the sports book as well. So there's a few pieces moving around here. The other question was about New Jersey losses in the quarter, which we're not breaking out, are we?
No, we're not breaking out New Jersey losses in the quarter. We said the only thing we would say about New Jersey that it continues to, we've said it when we started New Jersey, it's a multi-year investment, right? So clearly we expect it to be a net investment this year, negative impact on EBITDA. Clearly we expect the same thing next year, but we haven't broken out. As Brian said, 9% market share for a brand that's unknown is very good news in a short time. So we're hopeful that New Jersey will continue to do well.
Thanks. And could I just add one other one, please? The Italian delays. Can you just expand on the reasons behind those a little bit more, and to what extent we'll see those startup costs coming through in future periods?
Joe, I'd love to tell you when this thing is going to go live. We guided originally it would be live by the end of the financial year. That gives me 7 or 8 weeks left. I still think Alex used the word imminently earlier. It could be imminently, but this will be the first time the Italians have licensed an exchange. And indeed the first time for us to work with a regulatory process like they have in Italy. So it's just dragging on, but it feels like it's very close.
And in terms of the costs for next year, again, it's all part of the budget discussions for next year. So I wouldn't look at it and say, well, they didn't underspend this year, so move it into next year. We're looking at next year. We're trying to figure out what's the most effective spend is in total for the year. We're then looking to see where we can mitigate some of that. So it's all part of the whole budget process, which we will, like I said, we'll update you on the output of that process at the year end.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And your next question is from Ed Birkin, Credit Suisse. Please go ahead.
Morning, guys. Just 2 from me, please. On Betfair US, I was wanting to give a bit of colour on how the ADW business is going. So, if you won't spit out exactly what you've got from casino, then just directionally, if that's continuing to grow year on year. And then secondly, your ITV deal. What does the gold package give? I mean, is the gold package the top package, or do you have other platinum and stuff above that? And what will you have compared to competitors on there?
I very much I don't recommend my marketing guys come in and tell me the platinum is the new gold. I believe there are 2 gold packages which give precedence around the World Cup and Champions League matches. The World Cup, we think, will be quite valuable given the time of day and interest in that. So I believe there is one other gold partner where we share the most valuable inventory. Just on New Jersey, we haven't broken it out. A lot of the New Jersey numbers are obviously public because the DGE in New Jersey publishes them. I think the underlying ADW business, the TVG business in the United States, was up about 19% for the quarter. Now that benefits from this is the last quarter where it benefits from switching on horse racing in New Jersey. So I would expect that growth to slow down considerably. And just while we're talking about New Jersey, the DG is publishing numbers on a monthly basis, as they do about their land-based industry as well. We see this as early stage. Alex has talked about this being a multi-year investment. This is absolutely a multi-year project. I just want to say that I think it's going to be bumpy. I think some months we'll take share and some months we'll lose share. I'm happy with the growth in the customer numbers. I'm happy in the progress we're making in terms of platform and marketing. But we are taking a longer term view here, and therefore, while it's exciting seeing what market share is every 4 weeks, we're thinking about it on a longer term basis.
Okay, and just on that, I know it's difficult to know what peers are doing, etc. But do you think this is an almost a kind of steady state-ish period of investment of marketing, or do you expect that at some point there's going to be a significant ramp up in casino marketing? Once people take less focus on the poker. So competition
I mean, as you indicate in the question, I just don't know. I think it is rational for poker brands to go hard early. Will others try and take them on later, perhaps, and will that change the marketing dynamic? Will others come after the casino market? Perhaps. I think it's pretty well recognized now that a number of people thought the market would be bigger, so it's very hard to say. But we see this as a critical first step. We're already learning. We knew a certain amount about the US through having traded there with the TVG business, and we understood how payments worked and some of the complexities of the US market. We know an awful lot more now, and we think this is a very logical place to start when we think of other states opening up over the coming years.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please key star then one on your telephone. Your next question comes from Richard Stuber, Nomura. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Just 2 questions from me. The first is, you've had some very good sort of growth in your sports book, but would you expect sort of greater cross-sell to your gaming, and are you slightly disappointed by just a 3% growth with a big mix effect going on in there? And the second question is just any sort of comments on how your Australian JV is progressing, please.
Look, I mean, the strategy is that we broaden the reach of the brand and that gaming is an easier cross-sell to recreational sports customers. I think we see some early signs of improvement there, but there's lots more to play for. I think we've shown that when we execute properly, I think that our mobile stats show that we can compete very well. Can we improve cross-sell? I absolutely hope so. The Australian business is fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And your next question is from James Hollins, Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi, yeah. The first question is following on from Vaughan's, really, talking about the other markets. Can you just confirm that we've now lapped all the total market exits and therefore the only ones left are the ones where you're not doing a lot of advertising? And the second question is on marketing. I think you previously guided to £100 million of marketing in FY 14. So wondering, given your clearly we're near the end of the year, where that still stands, and maybe obviously not giving an actual figure for FY 15, where you'd expect maybe percentage-wise that to move up in FY 15. Thanks very much.
Full year 15, it's just too early to say. I mean, as Alex says, we're partway through the budget process. The 100 million number.
With 100 million number, we specifically said did not include investment in New Jersey, marketing investment in New Jersey and Italy. So it was the marketing, including those two, will be bigger than 100 million.
And I guess the ITV stuff, a bunch of that value is after our financial year. So we'll talk about that in more detail when we get to the summer. The regulatory stuff, we have fully lapped everything, and as I said earlier, we do think other markets will close, but just as it's hard to forecast when markets open up, it's you try and read the tea leaves, you try and stay aware of what's going on, but as to whether how and when they close is very hard to predict.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And your next question is from Nick Edelman, Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Morning, guys. Just one very quick one, please. In the other markets, I'm not sure exactly what websites they necessarily come via, but will they benefit at all from some of the product rollout like Price Rush?
Some will, some won't. Most of them, in fact, I think almost all of them come through Betfair.com. The reason for I hesitate, so stuff on the desktop, you benefit. Some of the mobile stuff you don't benefit from because you don't have local market distribution through the App Store and stuff. So there isn't a kind of a clean answer to that. And the sporting mix varies by geography as well, obviously. So and we're more focused on, as I said earlier, we're more focused on products in what we call sustainable markets. So yeah, it's a slight help, but not as material help. It's not 100%. We can't amortize the spend over all of those markets.
Cool, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a final reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please key star then one on your telephone. And your next question comes from the line of Ivor Jones, Numis. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Can you talk about where the sportsbook is in terms of its development pipeline? I see you've added dogs recently, for example. Is it just about content now? Is the function of the sportsbook as you would wish it to be?
It depends what you mean by function, Ivor. Without being too self-congratulatory about it, we were first with cash out. We're the only guys to offer cash out on multiples. We're the only guys offering something like Price Rush. I think there's other cool things we can do there. We're playing with the thing at the moment. It's in beta. It's actually live on the site occasionally, but it simplifies. So it's, do you think this team will win? Yes or no. So it simplifies the draw, no bet type thing. So there's a lot of creativity in this business, a lot in this organization, and I think we still have stuff that we're excited about bringing to market. Some of it will work, some of it won't. In terms of sports to offer, I think we can still flesh out some of the sports, but I think materially we're there.
Okay, thank you. And talking about Price Rush, you said that it would potentially count as two transactions. I can see that internally. How are you going to report it externally? So if it's massively successful and every bet on sportsbook gets settled on the exchange, where does it show up?
We're still looking, and we're still looking as to whether or not, as this Price Rush and the way we're running the business changing, whether or not sports should be a single reporting revenue line rather than exchange and sportsbook. Just because there isn't that. So it's possible, and I'm not suggesting this now, but it's possible that we would move in next year into that kind of reporting.
But there's not enough of it in the third quarter to have made. I don't need to worry about how you reported it in the third quarter.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
And is there a mirror image of Price Rush? Is there going to be something on the exchange that says there's no liquidity here, but we can offer you a fixed odds bet?
Perhaps, Ivor, perhaps.
Okay. In the US, is the Betfair Casino being advertised on the TVG channels in New Jersey?
Yes. Oh, well, sorry, just to be very clear.
Promoted, maybe.
Yeah, not channels. So the TVG channel broadcasts across the US. It's in 35 million homes, including homes in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia. So it is being advertised, promoted, whatever the word is. We are racing, our deal in New Jersey, our ADW, our horse racing deal in New Jersey, is with the state body that runs horse racing. So we actually, functionally, we provide a white label service for them under the brand NJ4, the Digit 4 bets. So the TVG business, in the way that it exists in California, where we own the data and own the whole thing end to end, is not the model in New Jersey. But the short answer to your question is, people who watch the TVG racing channel in New Jersey see their awareness is prompted about the Betfair Casino.
Okay, and last one in the US again. We haven't talked about California for a while, so for old time's sake, is there any movement in terms of introducing exchange betting there?
Conversations are ongoing, as they have been since God was a boy or something. I don't know either when it will happen, but yes, we continue to have conversations in California and elsewhere about an exchange.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, and there are no further questions waiting.
Okay, well, guys, look, thanks for your time and thank you for the questions. If there's anything you'd like to follow up on, please call Alex or Paul or myself, and we'll be happy to chat through stuff with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes your conference call for today, and you may now disconnect. Thank you for joining, and have a very good day.